Alright, Mission Impossible Fallout Part 2. This review is chock full of spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, check it out. So I want to talk a little bit about just after the bathroom scene. There is a scene where we get introduced to the White Widow, and Ethan Hunt is not sure if she's actually met John Locke, who they just killed accidentally. But he took his chance anyway to meet her, and turns out in that scene, the White Widow actually mentions that her mother is Max, which is a callback to the first Mission Impossible. And there is one scene in Mission Impossible where Max leans down and says to Ethan Hunt, "You are something of a paradox." I remember that stood out to me. And Ethan Hunt said, well, that depends on whether or not you like a paradox. But anyways, I remember that scene. And then when the White Widow starts talking about Max was always interested in paradoxes, etc., I thought, oh, that's who this is, and that kind of, so that connected. So I thought that was kind of a nice gesture. And then they proceed to kick the crap out of some bad guys as they're leaving. Amidst some oohs and ahs, I thought that was kind of funny. Every time Tom Cruise would break an arm or stab somebody, the crowd that was at the charity event was like, ooh, ooh, ah, kind of thing. So I like that. I thought that was funny. There's the scene, the famous scene in Paris where Tom gets on a bike, takes off through the city being chased by cops. We see this in a trailer. But the bike scene, the way they cut it, the way they edited this movie is pretty amazing, because you actually feel like you're right there, and it could be any time where Ethan's character gets smoked by a car. At least that's what I felt. Now I know subconsciously, deep down inside, you know Ethan's going to make it to the end of the movie. But there were times where I'm like, oh, wow, that is like, it actually made me want to go out and buy a BMW motorbike. That's how much I like this scene. Anyways, so that was fantastic. You could clearly tell he was doing all his stunts, because they had some wicked close-ups with the camera. Love that. But I'm going to conclude this video with the helicopter scene. So it took Tom Cruise about 1.5 years to train to fly a helicopter. Now I know there's some critics that say that, oh, you know, like this character took like 5 seconds to fly a helicopter. You got to understand, in the world of Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt can do the impossible. And in real life, he's a pilot. But I'm just assuming that these secret agents have some form of aviation skills. They know how to fly planes, all that kind of stuff, because they're in and out of planes all the time. So I can assume Ethan's character knows how to fly a plane. Then the question is going to be, can you cross over and fly a helicopter really quick? That is the part that's a little bit like, okay, I can jump with you over there just because it's exhilarating and it's fantastic to watch. It was a little bit of a stretch, you know, where the actors like Ving Rhames and I think it was Simon Pegg, their characters were like, he knows how to fly a helicopter. Not sure if that needed to be in there, if they needed to tell us that. Because Tom Cruise was trying to figure out the controls, and then he took off. So that part was, but you know what? I was able to delete that and then move on with the movie. So there are a couple of parts in the movie where you're like, boy, that's really a stretch. You're really pushing me. Like, there's one scene where Tom Cruise is being led by Benji through a building, and he's chasing Agent August Walker. And he gets to the building, he gets to the window, and Benji's like, why are you stopping? And Ethan Hunt's like, I'm jumping through a building, or off a building. And I'm like, yeah, but you just jumped 25,000 feet out of a plane. trying to get your oxygen mask on, and you've climbed mountains and all this kind of stuff. So a 20-foot drop, you did that in Mission Impossible 2. You actually dropped 15 or 20 feet. No cables, anything like that. So jumping out of a building down maybe a story, and you're like, I'm jumping out of a building. That was kind of like, don't really buy it. But again, because I love the movie, just move on, move on. Don't get into the details. So that's it. Again, this movie, I gave it a 10 in my review. The more I start thinking about it, it's probably like a 9. And it's starting to go down the more that I think about it. But when I walked out of the theater, I was like, this is an amazing movie. Amazing movie. I drank the Kool-Aid and I loved it. So let me know if you've watched the movie Fallout. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And thanks for watching.